spring of all my comfort. More than life, more than life to me. Whom have I on earth beside? Who in heaven? Come on, let's close it out. I'm calling on you, say. Oh, Lordy, hear my Lord, why on other side, Lord, thou art calling to pass me by. Come on, call him like you love him, call and you say, Lord, Savior, hear my heart. Why on others I am calling, do not pass me by. Amen. Certainly we want the Lord to stop by our address. If he's blessing you and you're my neighbor, he's in the neighborhood. I don't care how long he stays at your house. I just don't want him to pass me by. Amen, amen. God bless you real good. I want to thank God for all of you who are here today. We welcome my friend, my brother, Pastor Jackson from Parkview here today, and Reverend Taylor here today from the great metropolis of State Line, Mississippi. He's here with us as well. I told him he was in good company because there's a whole lot of state liners in here. And so we thank him. Thank God for all the men. Hey, thank God for all the men who responded to the invitation to come and be with us in this service. We're excited about you being here. And we thank God for you being in this service. How about that praise team? Amen. They really blessed our hearts, reminding us that he is a way maker. God said, I'm going to do a new thing. Amen. In your life. The book is Judges, chapter number 7, verses 15 through 21. Thank God for these men. I thought I'd want to come get Fitz there for a minute. He went to feeling good, and when Fitz feels good, you know it's going to be some good singing. Amen. Judges chapter number 7, beginning at verse 15. And it was so when Gideon heard the telling of the dream and the interpretation thereof that he worshipped and returned into the host of Israel and said, Arise, for the Lord hath delivered into your hands the host of Midian. And he said unto them, Look on me, and do likewise, and behold, when I come to the outside of the camp, it shall be that as I do, so shall ye do. So Gideon and the 100 men that were with him came unto the outside of the camp in the beginning of the middle watch. And they had but newly set the watch. And they blew the trumpets and brake the pitchers that were in their hands. And they stood, every man in his place, round about the camp. And all the host ran and cried and fled. The flower is fading, the grass is withering, but my Lord's word shall not return unto him void. I want to tag this text for just a few minutes and talk about man up. Man up. Thank you, ushers. You may permit the worshipers and be seated. Pray with me, please. At the time of our text, the Israelites were being served by judges. They had backslidden time and time again. And every time they backslided, the Lord reached out to them through a judge to deliver them from that backslidden condition. It had gotten so bad on this time until they were setting up idols and worshiping idol gods. They had an idol set up to worship Baal. And it was Gideon the Lord called to rise up and be the judge at this time. Those who read the Bible remember that Gideon had problems with the Lord calling him. For he said unto the Lord, when the Lord called his name on that threshing floor, Lord, I am from the least tribe, and then I am the least in my father's house. You got the wrong man. But what the Lord wanted to point out to Gideon, and I want to share with us today, that God normally picks those that others pass over. Any help in this house? He specializes in taking people from nowhere and nothing and putting them on a stage to do miracles on his behalf. I thought I had a witness, because you can look in the mirror and see where you've come from. And there were many who counted you out and said that you were from the wrong family. You grew up in the wrong community. You didn't get enough education. You don't have enough money. But look what God has done with your faith in him. He's brought you from yonder. Do I have any witnesses in here? We are opening doors we have no business opening based on what they said about us. But what they said about us didn't matter, because what God said to us made all the difference. And God called Gideon a mighty man of valor. Never been to war, never sung a sword, never fought an enemy. But God said to him, you're a mighty man of valor. After that night, when the Lord spoke to Gideon in a sign, he said, Lord, if I'm the one, I tell you what I need you to do for me. I need to put the fleece out tonight, and in the morning I want the fleece wet and the ground dry. And you know God is like God. He can work a miracle. He dropped dew on the fleece and none. I thought somebody came to heaven the church. None on the ground. Gideon woke up the next morning, squeezed a bowl full of water out the fleece. God said, you ready? He said, Lord, don't be mad with me, but I just need you to do one more thing. Don't be angry with me. But if you're really with me tonight, I'm going to put this fleece back out. And I want the fleece dry and the ground wet. Is there anything too hard for God? The next morning he got up. The fleece was dry. The ground was wet. Because God is the one who commands the dew and tell it where to fall. Do I have a witness here? So Gideon says to the Lord, you got your man. Well, then he had to pull down all of those images in his father's house that was set up to Baal, because God says he should have no other God before him. He's a jealous God. And after Gideon done that, he was ready to go to battle. He says to the Lord, I'm ready now. And so then the Lord said, what you got to do is sound the alarm and call out for the men to go to battle. And that brings me to my first point, that Gideon called out for battle. He said, it's time now for us to stop hiding in caves and running away from the Midianites. God has spoken to me and said he's going to give us the Midians in our hand. Sound the alarm. The Bible said some 30,000 men showed up. And Gideon said, well, I can handle this. I can do this. And I want to tell somebody here that God's speaking to today. You got too many folk around you to get where God wants you to go. Can I tell you a truth? Where God determined that you're going, 90% of the folk in your life right now won't be there. Watch this. They can't handle the altitude. Snakes die at high altitude. I thought I had some help. See, and if you let God take you where you're going, you got to leave some folk that say, I'm with you. You got to leave a few ride or dies. You got to leave a few folk that got your back. You got to leave a few folk that say, you can tell me, you can trust me. You got to leave some of those very folk right where you are now. If young folk listen to me, you can't carry everybody with you where you going. They don't have the faith you got. They don't have the connection with God that you have. They are not going to be able to handle. The higher you go, the more they drop out and leave saying stuff like this. You're acting funny now. We hadn't changed. We just got blessed. And when God blesses us, he elevates us. And when he elevates you, snake starts passing out. They can't handle. You won't find no snakes on Mount Everest. They can't handle that. You want to find out who's really with you? Just go on and let God take you where he's trying to carry you. And you'll find out that everybody who said they were down with you would be missing. I told my children, I told them a long time ago when they were still in grade schools, let me tell y'all something. I don't want you getting caught up in this thing of trying to save everybody. See, some folk in your life, they're just here for a season. And they can't go where you're going. And they're not destined to do what you're going to do. And so you've got to get used to God counting. He counts differently than we do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I thought I had something then. They counted 2 fish
Watch yourself.
and 5 loaves of bread. And the question was, what is this
My God, watch yourself.
among so many?
Yes, sir.
The Bible says he multiplied
Yes, he did.
fish and loaves,
Yes, sir.
filled up 5,000 men, not counting women and children, about 20,000 people's belly, and had 12 baskets left over. See, we count like this: a handful of meal
Yes, sir.
and a little oil. God count like this: you give me your last, and I'll make your last last. I thought I had somebody gonna help me here. See, God, he counts very differently than we count.
Yes, sir.
And so Gideon got all, muscled up and ready to go to battle. And 30,000 soldiers, oh, God said that's too many. If I give them this battle, they're going to take all the credit for it. Tell you what you do, Gideon. I want you to just do a separating test. Say everybody who's afraid We appreciate you coming out, but you can go home. 20,000. Turned and walked off. Gideon said, well, 10,000 is doable. What's the plan now, Lord? The Lord said, I'm still counting.
What you say? What you say, Pastor?
I thought somebody read the Bible. He said, what's the plan? I got 10 grand. I can go with the 10,000. God said, I'm still counting. Somebody in this room, they just take a minute and do some counting. I know you think that you've got to have. Yeah, I know you feel you need. But can I tell you the truth? You plus God.
What you say? What you say, Pastor?
God plus you equals the majority. Because Paul asked the question and then turned and answered his own question. He said, if God be for us,
Yes, sir.
I thought I had 5 in here, that know if God is on your side, you can come from the wrong side of the track. You cannot have the education and still get the employment. Y'all ain't gonna listen to me. See, God works in mysterious ways. Wonders he performs. Some blessings I have in my life, folk be like, I don't know how he pulled it out. I don't either. If you can explain everything that happened in your life, God's not in your life. I'm going to say that for the people in the back. If you can explain everything that happened in your life, God is not in your life. It has to be some miraculous stuff happening in your life.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He said, what's the plan? God said, I'm still counting.
Yes, sir.
I said, well, I said everybody that was scared could leave and 20,000 left. God said, but still got too many. I give you the battle with 10,000, you gonna take credit. Tell you what to do, Gideon. Take them down to the river. And just tell them all to get a drink of water. And all of those that get down on all fours and lap water like a dog, put them on one side. And then everybody that get down on one knee, scoop up a handful and look around while they're drinking, put them on other side. And so Gideon said, well, okay. Let's go down to the river, and 9,700 men got down on all fours and lapped water like a dog. And 300 men. 300 men. Say, I don't care what statistics say. I'm not going to be a dropout dad. I'm going to be a drop-in dad. 300 men. Say, I don't care what you feel about the color of my skin. I'm still going to stand up and fight for what's right and lead my family and be where I'm supposed to be. 300 men. Say, I'm sick and tired of hiding behind excuses about my daddy wasn't there. My mama didn't like me. She gave me away at birth. And your point is, we got too many men hiding behind excuses. Can I tell you that we need every man? We can't get along without y'all. See, look, if you're going to find out how God felt about something, you ought to go back to the first time he said something about it. And when I look at the biblical blueprint of the design that God had when he designed the family, now I understand the Me Too crowd. I understand everybody want rights. Everybody got this. I'm not bothering any of y'all. I'm looking at the blueprint. I'm looking at the blueprint that God left on record when he made the family. Here's the process. He reached down and got some dust. Little water mixed with it and formed a man. Breathed in his nostrils something that man been chasing ever since the breath of life. Did something for the man it didn't do for the dog or the elephant. And man became a living soul. Any help in this house? And then he looked at man and said that is not good that man should be alone. He does not match up with an elephant. He ought not be with a giraffe. He does not belong with a kangaroo, rabbit, or fish. It's not good that man should be alone. The Bible said that he put him in a deep sleep, no anesthesia. Put him in a deep sleep, no scalpel. I wish I had some help. And took from his side a rib. And from the rib, he made another living person. Brought Adam from under anesthesia. And said, you named everything else. What you going to call this? Adam woke up and said, wow. I ain't never seen nothing like that before. Biologically, physiologically, and anatomically, directly opposite of me. But she completes me. Anybody gonna talk to the preacher? I'm gonna call her womb man because she's flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone. Now Adam was no smarter than Eve, he was no greater than Eve, but their roles and their assignments were different. And they are different today. Now we've abdicated, men have abdicated our posture and left our position. And women, because they are descendants of their mother Eve, have taken our place. Now a lot of women have raised a lot of boys and they've done well. But that's not according to design. Now, look, I take my hat off to them because if it wasn't for them, a lot of us wouldn't be here. But it wasn't according to the blueprint. And the problem is we've altered the blueprint. And so now we just make babies and don't take care of them. And talk about that's my blood and that's my blood and you got blood all over the country and everybody bleeding to death because you won't help out. The man is the head. Now he's no smarter and the woman is no lesser, but the roles and the assignments are different. The quarterback hiked the ball. The center hiked the ball. The quarterback has the ball to throw the pass. He throws the pass. The receiver catches. The lineman blocks. The receiver crossed the goal line, but he can't dance by himself. It took the whole team. And these women are struggling. And they're straining because you're talking about you can't make no commitment. By not making a commitment, you've already committed. I can't be tied down. You tied down already. We need to refer back to the blueprint.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
See, if Adam gets in Adam's place,
Well,
Eve knows hers. Can I tell you that women are not in our lives to compete with us? They're in our lives to complete us. See, if God's going to give you a good thing, the good thing has to be good for you.
you better say all.
My time about to run out on me. He that findeth the wife findeth a. So if the good thing is a good thing, it's got to be good to you. And if you're always swapping, it may be you're not in your place. Every time Miss Hawkins go to acting crazy, she right over there. You ain't got to call and tell her. Every time she go to acting crazy, I know exactly what's wrong. I've gotten out of place. See, because if I'm in place doing what the head's supposed to do, the neck don't have no trouble. If anybody's supposed to be exposed in this dynamic of a family, it's me. If anybody looking raggedy, it's me. If you look at me and like what you see, she's gonna always look better. When you man up, when you stand up and be what you're supposed to be, women aren't crazy. They're crazy when you don't stand in your place. Now, she just like any other woman when I ain't in place, out and she crazy. I told my children, y'all mama crazy. Talking about her, I want to fight y'all later. All y'all, descendants of Eve. And when Adam don't do Adam's responsibility, when Adam don't stand up and do what Adam's supposed to do, Eve started listening to other people. Anybody here read the Bible other than the preacher?
Come on, son, work.
And she'll listen real quickly to another man and get you some help. I got to hurry. 9,700. 300. Gideon said, okay, I get it, God. I got you. I understand. I'm going to go on to my army. I started toward the 9,700. God said, wrong army. Wrong army. Let me tell you something. Your children's mother may never get along with you no more. Because y'all did get along at least.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
She wasn't crazy. She wasn't nothing that rhymed with ditch. She wasn't no garden tool. Y'all may never get along no more, but you did.
Yes, sir.
That has nothing to do with your responsibilities. You cried old baby and made one. Y'all gonna help me here in a minute. And it's your responsibility to not have to have somebody else tell you how to take care of your own child. We're suffering Because we got too many men in the 20,000 scared. Man, if God would be so kind as to bless me and use some of me to put in somebody else that once they got here looked and acted like me. Wild horses couldn't keep me from them. I mean, you ain't got to talk to the mama. Set up a meeting place. Pick them up at the library. Got father and son, daughter, and uncle got to go. Where are you? Your sons need to know how to treat women. And you're showing them that women are just a piece of property by how you treating their mother. Your daughters need to know what kind of man to marry. See, I'm the first man that Nicole Hawkins fell in love with. It went something like this. Daddy, when you leaving? I said, baby, I got an early flight, so I'll be gone in the morning when you get up. She said, can you do something for me? I said, what you need, baby? She said, spray some of your cologne on one of your t-shirts and leave it in my room. Y'all ain't listening. I said, sure will. We are passing up some great grand opportunities that God have given men to shape the lives of other people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Y'all remember the boys in the hood? When Trey mama did all she could with him, and she brought him into Furious, and they were sitting in the car talking and said, Trey, go play, boy. And she was a real woman. She said, now Furious, take care of my baby. Furious looked at her and said, he my baby too. He said, let me tell you something. It's a lot of stuff you can do for Trey. So one thing you can't do for Trey, you can't teach Trey how to be a man. There's some brothers in this room need to start manning up. Your son's mother doing the best she can, but it's just something about a father's voice. It's something about, I'm going to tell your daddy that changes attitudes. I thought I had somebody there. Anybody grew up in that house where you didn't want mama to tell daddy? Or you had like, mama, please, mama, don't tell daddy. Whatever you do, don't let daddy find out. Daddy was lost. Mama was the one that kept on warning. Daddy came in knocking you out. Just like a man can't teach a girl how to be a woman. Roles and assignment. And when somebody else teaching the role, then the assignment turn out kind of. You'll catch that one at lunch. Gideon say, huh? Let the church say, huh? 300? So that's the army. What separated them? The 300 men were alert. They drank water watching. I thank God for the alert men in my life. See, because I am one of those who didn't have a father figure in the formative years. My daddy died an alcoholic. I buried him from this church. First time my dad arrived at this church, he was in a casket. Never heard me preach in person. We got back together, and I told him, I said, I owe you two things. To keep loving you because you're my daddy, and to bury you when you die. You are without excuse. Statistically, I'm supposed to be dead, in jail, gangbanger, dope pusher, homeless, strung out, something. Statistically. But God blessed my mama with a man who stepped up. And when we met Chester Turner, we asked him, saying, what you want us to call you? And my mama was listening into the conversation in the other room. And you know, my mama's still being saved. So I'm going to dress this up for the children in the house. She said, what you mean, what you going to call him? You going to call him Daddy. The only steps at our house were the one we stepped on going in the house. If a man would take you and your children and take care of y'all, stop telling these children they don't have to listen to that man. Yes, they do. If he mans up, you ought to bless the Lord. He stepped up. And from Chester Turner, I learned how to be a man. I buried Eugene Hawkins before I buried Chester. I cried. He was my biological father. But I buried my father when I buried Chester. So this ain't no game. This is the real life. Look, if you got somebody around here with your name, man up. Quit getting fired and quitting jobs because you don't want to pay child support. You remember, y'all got together. Gideon gives the call to battle, first point of the text. Second point, God's counting of the army. And I told you God counts very differently than we do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right.
He gets down to 300 men. He said, I'm going to give you the battle with those 300. Here's the plan. I want you to go into the camp right after they set the mid-watch. What we're going to take, Lord, you're going to take a sword, a pitcher, and a light. Brethren, I know you didn't come over here not to get this right. So here it is. If you intend to turn, you may be a Volkswagen, can turn on a dime. And you may be a semi and need a whole lot of room and time to do it. I'm willing to wait on you to get it together. I'm willing to help you get it together. But our babies are dying in the streets. Our women are hurting and crying themselves to sleep at night because we are MIA, missing in action. We don't want no responsibility, but you are responsibly irresponsible. Preach, Pastor. And the challenge is, women, here it is. Y'all say, where the men? I said, they come and they here. Here's the challenge. When you get one, sometimes you just got to hush. Go in the bathroom and say what you got to say. You can't, look, your man, if he's a good man, go to work, get talked down to. If he's a good man, he go to Walmart, he gets suspected of stealing when he ain't stole nothing. He's a suspect everywhere he go. He comes home, he got to wrestle all night with you. Yeah. Somewhere along the line, you got to give him a little room. Got to give him a little room. Every now and then, you ought to fix his plate. I know that ain't 20 and all that. I know that's old fashioned. But I tell you, every now and then, you ought to say, baby, what you want to eat and put it on him. Every now and then you ought to want to know how was his day. Shut up and listen. Every now and then you need to rub his head and tell him you're doing a good job. He might be slipping. He might not have it all together. But if you're not going to be the wind beneath his wings, he can't fly. If I had time, I'd preach here. I got some 300s. I got some 300 men. I got some men that want to do it right, but they say, Reb, them women crazy. And I know y'all ain't crazy. We gotta, when you find a 300 man, you got to know how to treat him. Don't be listening to all these folk giving you advice. Don't got no man. I know what I said. I know what I said. Don't got no man. I know what I said. For all y'all who say that, I don't got no man. And they gonna tell you, child, that was my husband. That's why you don't have man. You be crazy and put him out there on the side of the road you want to. That same one that ain't got no man gonna have a man, because she gonna, well, she don't want you. Hey. She gonna roll on by there and pick up your trash. It's gonna become her trash. I got to close, got to get out of here. Done got hungry, time to go to lunch. And if you pass 25 and find a 300 man, can I tell you, he's going to have some stuff wrong with him. And you can't train him. If you meet somebody and you 40 and they 40, both of y'all got baggage. You know, it's like going to the store and one of your favorite ice cream and the only container of it that's left, your favorite flavor, and they dropped it, putting it in the freezer, and you trying to decide, are you going to take that little dented box and go on home, or you want a box that look good? You say, oh, foot, I want ice cream. If you find a 300 man, just treat him with care. Been through some stuff. Heart's been broken and spirit been downtrodden, but you can build him up. In a million pieces. A 300 man done did some crying. Now, I know real men don't cry, but 300 men do. You play hard if you want to. Real men cry. John 11:35 say Jesus wept. Never shall forget one day I learned how to ride a bicycle, and my daddy, my biological father, was teaching me how to ride it. I begged for the bike, and we didn't have no mini bikes and mid-sized bike and bike. We had a bike, the one size. You had to get up on that 26-inch and you put one foot on the pedal and go to running and run with the bike and throw that leg over there. And he had been drinking, and he called me and said, boy, ride that bike. I said, Dad, I don't know how yet. He said, boy, you done had that bike all the time. Get on that bike. I said, Dad, I can't ride it. He got me on the bike and set me up on it and went to pushing me and turned me loose, and I just panicked and ran and fell in briars and bushes and got I all skinned up and got up, and I was crying, and he went to screaming at me, "Stop crying. You don't cry. You're Hawkins. You don't cry." And I did my best to stifle the sniffling because I didn't want no more abuse, and was pulling the thorns out of my hand. And after he left, I had to ride that bike because I didn't want to have that encounter with him. And life will do that to you, men. It'll leave some scars. But watch this, I'm closing now. On the back of my hand, there is a spot that has keloid. It was supposed to have been stitched when it was first cut. We didn't have Medicaid, Blue Cross Blue Shield. I cut it on the back of a Foot Locker, and Mama said, "Hold it together." She went to the kitchen and got some salt pork. We call it fat back. She put that fat back on and took a sheet and then tied the sheet on the fat back and said, "Sit down and hold your hand up for a while." And when I finally took the fat back off, it had quit bleeding and had went together. And it healed. There's a scar there. I can remember very vividly what happened, how it happened. But you know what happened? It doesn't hurt anymore.
That's good, man. That's good. That's good.
I don't care how many women done hurt you, how many women done scarred you. If you meet a good woman, she's not hurting you. She means you good. You got to stop operating on a scar that's done healed. You can't go into the relationship talking about the last woman. Every time I see this scar, I think about that day. How it just hit that tin and burst open and blood started gushing out. Mama said, "Hold it. Put fat back on it. Tied it with a sheet. Elevated it. And it healed." We are hurting and we are inflicting pain on one another because we are all scared to realize that we are healed. I'm not fighting for victory, I'm fighting from victory. Because I am victorious, I fight. Our families aren't going to get any better until these 300 men get back where they're supposed to be. You got to get back in your son's life. Stop letting somebody else coach him and somebody else always pick him up from his mama's house and drop him off. You need to be at his games. You need to be there. Me and my daddy, we closed our relationship with some issues. I still work through them. But I promised myself that my son and I wouldn't have the same issues because I'm worried about my grandson. And no, Trinae ain't pregnant, and I hope Nicole is not. Because she don't have a man yet. But if I don't stay involved and engaged in those that I'm supposed to be leading and training, their offsprings are in trouble. My grandson will know nothing about beating his wife. He will know nothing about spousal abuse. He will know nothing about calling his wife out her name. Because when he gets here, it'll be 2 generations removed from him. Because his granddaddy didn't do it to his daddy. And therefore his daddy does not know how to do it to him. Men, we have an awesome responsibility. We've got to man up. We've got to get in our place. And that's what the text says now. At the end of the text, it says, and every man. God reduced the army down to 301 men. and said, now I will give you the victory through these men. All I'm asking for the men to do is just man up. It's not a perfect world. It won't be when we leave it. But we got to make our little patch as perfect as possible. You need to be there when that child come home with that scribble scrabble. And say, what is that? Oh, that's a bus. Oh, that's what that is? Ooh, that's a nice bus. Put that on the refrigerator. Don't take that off. My daughter, on her birthday this year, she'll be 30 years old. Yeah. But on my refrigerator, there's still her school day picture on my refrigerator. Been gone so long, but the first thing they do when they come, they look in certain places for certain stuff. And like, mama, where my picture at? And then I went to my mama's house, you know, and I was looking for my picture. I found my daughter's picture on my mama's refrigerator. I'm like, what's up with this? But I found out, they told me, said, man, they crazy about them grandchildren. So when you get grandchildren, they just forget all, you don't even exist no more. I said, oh, okay. Man, they don't even speak to you. The first thing they ask you, how the children doing? My mama called me and said, how you doing, mama? How Larry in the car? Hey, how about Big Larry? So Gideon decided that he would follow the mandate and the leading of God. So he says to the men that were in the number of 300, I'm going to divide y'all into 3 groups. I'm going to take 100 with me. I want 100 to go that way. And I need 100 to go that way. But what I don't need you to do is to do your own thing. Gideon said that when the time comes, I want you to move just like I move. Do I have a witness in here now that know that we thank God for good granddaddies? Because they taught us how to be a real man. We thank God for fathers who were there, whether you came in the picture late or early. I thank God for Chester Turner and James Arthur. James Arthur was my granddaddy. He was my mama's daddy, and he taught me how to enjoy life. But Chester Turner was my stepfather who stepped up to be my father. He taught me that a man ought to always take care of his family. He taught me that a man ought to always have a job, even if it wasn't a job he wanted, he had to take care of his family. Do I have a witness here now? And I did my level best to teach Larry his responsibilities so that when Larry the third shows up, he'll understand that if a man don't work, he ought not to be able to lay up on a woman and eat. Do I have a witness here now? He's going to learn that your responsibility is to make a life for yourself before you make one for somebody else. Oh, Lord, they went in the battle, and while they were in the battle, in the middle of the night, while the army was sleeping now, it was a great army who could destroy them if they knew they were coming. But the Lord used the cover of darkness and took 300 men, and at the right time, they all sounded the trumpet, broke their pitchers, and shined their light. The army woke up from a slumber, confused and dazed. They looked around, and all of a sudden, they thought they were surrounded, and they turned on themselves. If we want the drug dealers to leave our community, we need to get back in our community. If we want the pimps to leave our daughters alone, we ought to teach them how to be a man. Do I have a witness here now? It's hard work, but I'm willing to roll up my sleeve. What about you? It's hard work fighting this system that's racially prejudiced most of the time, but I'm willing still to be the last one hide just to get in the door and do my job. I want to tell somebody, if you put your hand in the Lord's hand, God will, he'll work it out. Do I have a witness here? My hat's off to the women who had to raise their boys. My hat's off to the mother who had to raise all of her children. You've done a great job, but I'm calling for men who are willing to man up. You may not have a whole lot of money, but I want to tell you a story. Yeah, Lord, it was this man, he was a doctor, and this son asked him one day, he said, Daddy, tell me how much money you make per hour. He sat down and figured out an hourly wage. He gave the son a sum amount, and the son started saving his money. He got enough money to equal an hour of work. He went in the room and said, Daddy, didn't you tell me that you made $200 an hour being a doctor? He said, yes, son. He said, well, I got $200. Can I buy an hour of your time? We ought not have to sell our time to our children. Every now and then, you ought to quit being busy and have time for your children. You got to man up. You can't play PlayStation all your life. You got to put them toys down and man up. You can't have Xbox going all your life. When you got children that need you, you've got to man up. I wish I had a witness in here. You got to stand in your place. And that's what the Bible says. Every man stood in his place, and God gave them the victory. I'm so glad I got men in the house who are willing to stand in your place. I just wanted to tell you today, man up. Go get your son. Go find your daughter and tell them I'm getting back in your life. Do you hear me? I don't care what your mama say about me. I'm going to do my part. You ought to be at awards day. You ought to be at promotion day. You ought to take a day of vacation and hang out with your son sometime. You ought not always take out a day of vacation to lay up somewhere. You ought to get involved. You ought to man up. See, when you man up, things start changing. When you man up, things get better. When you man up, do you hear me? Your son will look up to you. Your daughter will be in love with you. When you man up, even if you mess up, you can fix it with your children because they will want you in their life. Do I have anybody here with a made up mind? We've come too far. We prayed too hard to give up. I ain't gonna turn around. I'm gonna keep on in Jesus' name. Is there anybody here that know Jesus manned up one day? One Friday, they put a cross on his shoulder. Didn't they do it? They marched him up Calvary's hill. Wouldn't nobody go but Jesus? Couldn't nobody go but Jesus? He went out on a hill and he died. Didn't they do it? Oh, he died. Your sin and mine. But bright early Sunday morning, early Sunday morning, he got up with all power. Is there anybody here who know he rose? If you know he lives, let me hear you say, yeah! Shout yeah! Oh, yeah. Yeah. We can turn it around. We can turn it around. If we man up, no, I'm not a perfect husband. I'm not a perfect daddy. I've messed up. I've had enough folk in my life to love me, to give me enough time to straighten up. But I promised the Lord I would do all in my power for those children that he blessed me with through my wife, to make sure that their children, when they ever show up, they have a better chance. That's all mom and them wanted for us. They wanted us to have a better life. That's all they wanted. That's why they ran some boys off. That's why they told you couldn't date some girls. We ain't listen, but they told us. Because they wanted a better life for us. Men in the room, we've got to want better for our children. You don't have to be with the woman that had them. My mama met my stepfather. She told him, listen now, I know you like me, I like you too. I need to tell you something though. It's a package deal. And I got 6. And Daddy Chester said, where are they? He worked at the hospital 3rd shift, Carlos, from 11 to 7. He got off at the hospital in Macon, Mississippi as an orderly. He wasn't no doctor, he wasn't no intern, he was an orderly. He changed the beds, he moved out the dead bodies from 11 to 7. And he rushed home and took off that uniform from the hospital and drove to Columbus, Mississippi and worked 8 hours at a furniture store. Because he was taking care of 6 children of another man. And when he finished working at the furniture store, he went to school at night to become an iron worker. So he didn't get back home till about 6, 7 o'clock that night. He'd lay down for a few minutes, and it was almost 11 o'clock to start that over again. He took 6 children of another man and stepped up. So she may have a couple of children. That's all right. If she's a good thing, step on up. And do what needs to be done. My first invitation is for salvation. If you're here and you've never been saved, never been baptized, stay with me to the benediction if you can. You can come give your life to Christ now. And just like we baptized Brother Williams, we can baptize you. If you're saved and you've been meaning to get it right with God and you want to come back to the church, you can come on now.